Ahoy! And like my good friend Malin Darris would like to say, coffee cheers to you this morning. Gene here from papercallblueprint.com. Um, hey, how's it going? Hope everything's fine on your end. It's been a while since I put out a video. Let me take these headphones off real quick. It's been a while since I've put out a video, and I want to get you guys up to speed right now. As of this particular video, we're in the middle of September 2018, and we're going to be pushing into October. And and if you don't know already, I have a paper call course that I put out called Paper Call Blueprint. It's kind of like predicated the whole branding and so forth. You can see that. I just wanted to get you guys up to speed what's going on in the world of me and pay per call, and then how I can help you guys kind of get up and running with pay per call. See if it's if it's a good fit for you or not. Right now, I'm sitting on the palomobile.com publisher application, and I just wanted to kind of drop some good news. We have just let me backtrack a little bit. So a little bit about me. I'm a pay per call marketer. I've been kind of a pay per call marketer for the last three years or so. During that time, I was working with Palo Media Group, my favorite pay per call affiliate network. And during kind of the heyday of like running some campaigns with them, they had asked me if they knew anybody that would be willing to fill an account manager position, so an affiliate manager, right? And at the time, I knew absolutely nothing about networks. I had no idea what was going on the back end of a network. And I felt like for my own personal growth, if I wanted to succeed in this industry, I should know as much as I can about what's going on in the network side, just as much as I should know what's going on the publisher side. You see what I'm saying? So I volunteered, I raised my hand, and I took the job as an account manager. And it really kind of shifted my perspective on things. It gave me the kind of the power and the ability to kind of see what goes on the back end of an affiliate network. Long story short, it really did help me, but it also took away a lot of my personal time to like work on campaigns. I've always considered myself a publisher first. It's kind of how I like to operate. I feel like the ability to make money and generate revenue and put together campaigns and so forth, kind of like my responsibility. It's all predicated on like how much effort I put into it. Usually you're working kind of like as a solopreneur who's outsourcing things. So it's like your ideas are coming to life based on your ability to be kind of self-motivated. And then when you kind of pull yourself into a team, like an affiliate network, you have to begin to rely on other people to get things done, and that was where the kind of the disconnect started to happen for me. Was just getting to that point where it's like you expect things to get done and they just don't get done in the amount of time or the way you want them to. So I started to get burned out. I mean, I really wanted to kind of master the account manager role and at the same time see success there, and you could almost see like a shift in balance in terms of like publisher success versus account manager success. And I did that job for about a year. I also put out the pay per call blueprint like version 1, and then I was running my own media buying campaigns on the side at the same time, working a day job too, because it's just too easy, not too easy, but too hard to give up. And I wanted to kind of like shuffle around and balance everything as best as I could. And what took the sacrifice, the things that like they took the sacrifice was the YouTube channel, the course. There's various reasons. One, I realized I'm just not a big fan of customer service. Pay per call blueprint got ripped off, and then kind of like it proliferated the internet. All of Bangladesh was using my course. And then those guys, after like pirating my course, were actually reaching out and asking me for questions and stuff. So that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I'm like, not only did you steal my course, but then you have the balls to like ask for help, So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm going to just shut down the YouTube channel, and not really shut it down, but just stop kind of putting content out there. And then at the same time, I'm not even going to worry about updating my course, making too much money over here as a publisher. And I got this account management job, which is just kind of a behemoth. I mean, that's a real job that takes a lot of time and energy, and you just don't make the kind of cheese that you'd make as a publisher when you've got good campaigns running. So there's a lot of soul searching and trying to figure out like what to do. So fast forward to now, I'm what you would consider Palo Media Group's outreach manager. I told him I don't want to do account management full time anymore because there's just too many, there's just too much time consuming engagement with publishers, and a lot of these publishers are just too new, and they don't know how to generate revenue, or they haven't generated revenue, and you have no clear idea whether or not they're capable. And when you do kind of get them up and running, they may just bounce and go someplace else and give up. So it's just they're real fickle in a lot of cases. So there was a lot of there's a lot of reasons why I kind of went down the path of like saying no more account management. It's just too time consuming. It doesn't really generate the revenue that I was hoping for. And so now I'm the outreach manager. So basically it means I get to do what I want to do in terms of being a publisher, but then at the same time I get to put out new content, fresh content, and then just kind of share what's going on with Palo Mobile and Palo Media Group. And if you feel like it's a good fit for you, then go sign up. There was a period where we kind of had shut down all new publishers, and that was, these were guys that were tier 3 geos, clearly had a problem with speaking good English. Basically, the chances of them actually being successful in pay-per-call, we had determined, basically by the data from the network that it wasn't a good fit. And so we were just closing them down. We were shutting them down, and we were just keeping them off the network because there was just too many people to do business with that were successful, that were in the United States and in Canada and in other tier 2, tier 1 countries that we knew we could do business with that were going to generate revenue. And so we had this kind of like all or nothing. It was like, the criteria was simple. It's like, if you could prove that you were a business and that you were transparent and clear about what you were doing and who you were, then you could get on board. If you had any trouble getting through the Palo application, you were just an easy rejection. In other words, if you weren't supplying the references and so forth that we were asking for, you were going to get rejected. If you were a tier 3 geo, you were going to get rejected. And so after a while, and it's doing it was really serving its purpose, but then at the same time, we felt like we were just leaving a lot of opportunity on the table by rejecting most of these guys. Especially the people, especially like the people in the publishers that were new, but were clearly capable of moving up the pay-per-call ladder. In other words, you were capable of figuring out, like, you had a disposable income, you had kind of the right references, you may be coming from some other form of marketing, and you're new to pay-per-call. We just needed a system in place for guys like you. We still kind of shy away from tier 3 geos, so nothing personal. It's just that, from a business perspective, it's like, it's pretty easy to tell that it's like you could tell somebody who's going to be successful here and somebody's not going to be successful here. Usually, if you're from Nigeria, we're not going to let you on the network. I'm sorry. Bangladesh and Pakistan and so forth. There's some good marketers out there. India, there's some good marketers out there. But for the most part, 9 times out of 10, it's pretty clear that, like, when these people fill out the application, that a lot of them are just going to just kind of gum up the gears. So with that being said, I just want to kind of like let you guys know that we have kind of put together a system on the Palo network to kind of help alleviate a lot of the stress that comes from dealing with new publishers. See, if you think about it from like the perfect scenario, would be, an agency stumbles upon, like, say, Palo, for example, and they're already capable of generating media buys. They understand the space well, and they're just looking for more business opportunities. Maybe it's to scale, maybe it's to tap into some new niches or something, but they already kind of clearly know what they're doing. Those are the ideal customer for a pay-per-call network. And so we had just been kind of working down that route and doing it successfully because there are those people out there. There's plenty of them. However, for every one of those people that came through, there was probably 50 or 60 brand new publishers that that were solopreneurs, that were kind of new to the game, that wanted to crack in, get into the business. But we just didn't have the manpower to work with those guys because, like all of these like positions in affiliate networks are typically commission based. So if there's no commission because you're dealing with somebody new, there's no money being made and it becomes all charity. So just imagine trying to work with 50 new people that will not generate much revenue. It just makes no sense from a business perspective to do business there. We've kind of fixed that problem. One of the biggest problems that we had was onboarding. It was just kind of getting people through the front door. You just can't have like account managers kind of focusing on getting new people through the front door, getting new people up and running, and then at the same time, making sure that your good publishers are actually scaling and growing and staying connected with them, because this is all about relationships. And relationships means you have to kind of be on top of be on the pulse of like how communication is working and so forth with these publishers, hitting them up, seeing how they're doing, and making sure that everything's kind of met. And if all of a sudden the traffic stops, you got to go figure out why, because I know I'm a publisher and I know for one, when traffic stops, there may be some kind of like deep-seated reason that makes me not want to reach out to my affiliate manager. Maybe sometimes there's another offer to run. Sometimes it could be just like you feel like you're getting kind of the bad end of the stick and you're like, well, screw these guys, I'm going to go do somewhere else. There's tons of reasons, and it's really the account manager's responsibility to kind of get in there and make sure that doesn't happen. And when you're just dealing with so many new publishers and new guys are coming on every day, and like 9 times out of 10, most of them aren't qualified. You're just kind of wrapped up in a bunch of minutia, So long story short, we have a new account. We kind of have a new onboarding person who's there to kind of just work through applications. And with that being said, if you the chances. Oh, and also we put together a new program for brand new people, where if you're qualified, if you're qualified, in other words, you're able to pull off the Palo publisher application. You got a Skype username. You are in, preferably you're in a tier 1 or tier 2 country, and you have some revenue numbers. It's okay if it's 0 to 1,000, but if you're just honest about what you're doing, and the social media profile, this is your personal profile. Honestly, we want to do business with real people, with real names, with none of these like phony aliases and this kind of cloak and dagger approach to like being an affiliate. You're into a real, you're doing real business with us, and we want to really truly know who you are and how you operate. Because pay-per-call, we have zero tolerance for black hat, man, because you just get offers shut down and so forth left and right. So it's like, this stuff is like critical that we're dealing with good people. And then other network referrals. This is like your affiliate managers and stuff. If you're coming from Callzoo or something of that nature, then you can put Bill's name here. If you're coming from another network like Astoria or HyperTarget, you could put Liza's or Emily's name here. We're just looking for skin in the game. Like, how much skin do you have in the game here? Because we're not looking for fly-by-night marketers who have no experience, who just expect us to, unfortunately expect us to just basically drop everything to go kind of cater to you. If you can't fill this thing out, then we just can't do business with you. So, I would look at this this application as kind of like as a checklist of things that you probably need to start accomplishing inside the industry if you really want to get into pay-per-call. There's a lot of big networks out there like Max Bounty and so forth that are still doing calls that will allow people on board because they just have the capacity to kind of deal with a lot of people. But anyway, the good news is like when we've been shutting down newbies because we just don't have the capacity to handle them, and now we've got a system in place that will allow us to handle them. So I just wanted to put this video out just to kind of let you know that that if you are brand new and you're not coming from like a tier 3 geo, then go fill out this application, because you're going to get onboarded by Christy. Christy's very meticulous and really good at her job, and she's going to take you through the process of kind of vetting you. And then she will kind of hang on to, she'll be kind of managing you for the first 30 days, which doesn't mean she's going to be answering all your pay-per call. She's not an account manager, right? She's just there to kind of help facilitate your ability to kind of prove yourself. So once you get through the application process, you go apply for an offer. She's the one that's going to double check and make sure everything's cool, and then give you the green light on the offer. And then once you're up and running, and we can see that you're generating phone calls, and those phone calls are relevant, and there's good intent there, and you've got maybe you're throwing up some revenue. Then we're going to pass you off to a legitimate account manager. That will be Chris Langevin. He's going to help you scale and then make more money. And that way, if you're kind of running into trouble with like payouts, or for some reason the IVR isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing, or you have suggestions and improving it or so forth, that would be Chris. Chris would help you scale and just make sure that everything is kind of taken care of. That's where we know it's worth our time and energy to kind of get in there and start helping you grow. So I just want to leave you with that. I know it's been a while since I put out a video. We're approaching the new quarter here in 2018. And I have big plans in store. So I had Paper Call Blueprint version 1 that is now what I consider obsolete. I kind of take the hero's journey approach to things. So it's like, I don't want to like position myself as an expert who knows everything. That's because that's far from the truth. However, I've kind of figured out like my ways of doing things, and my ways of doing things seem to work pretty well. I'm not a gigantic optimizer. I'm more of a simplifier. So I kind of look at ways of like the simple ways of kind of getting up and running, but doing it in a legitimate way. Version 1 of Paper Call Blueprint, I was still kind of learning. I had enough to go off of to kind of help teach other people, but then I could look back at my course now and I can kind of see where like I would do tons of things differently. And so version 2 is going to kind of version 2 of Paper Call Blueprint is going to go into more about the new AdWords experience. I guess it's Google Ads now. Talk about kind of the state of pay per call, because click to call is getting more and more competitive, more and more expensive. And then, as a result of that, and I could see that affiliate network offers are not moving proportionally with respect to traffic costs. Right. So it's kind of like the economy, it's like inflation goes up and all of a sudden the cost of goods goes up, but then your job doesn't like compensate you in terms of pay raises to account for that. And as a result, you're still making the same amount of money every year, but then like a gallon of gas has gone up like $3, so it's like you're kind of losing. So we got to talk about that a little bit and how to get around that in terms of like, are there other alternative like traffic sources out there that we can kind of push from in order to generate phone calls? What are the new strategies for generating phone calls? Because, click to call is great and everything, but I wouldn't like put all my eggs in one basket, because what I've discovered, say from like over the last year or so, addiction was a big vertical for me. And then was it September last year? No, it was like July. I don't know. Sometime earlier this year, we lost the ability to really run addiction like we used to run. So with that being said too, you got to kind of think about like version 1, I didn't see that coming. Version 1 of Paper Call Blueprint, I was like, this is an evergreen niche. It's going to be here forever. But, the traffic source has all the leverage. And if they decide they want to pull the plug on a specific vertical for whatever reason, it could be political influence. It could be just their, it could be, just because of their subjective attitude. It has nothing to do with you, is something you have to kind of roll with. And that's kind of rolling with the punches. And that's another reason why they say, the internet marketing industry is always changing and you have to adapt. It's kind of what makes internet marketing such a sink or swim industry, is like your ability to adapt to these kind of changes. Sometimes they're drastic and sometimes they kind of catch up to you and you don't even realize they happen. So, and another thing too about Pay Per Call Blueprint, I'm looking at ways of making it more a la carte. So instead of like buying an entire course, I'm just going to set up modules on my website, and then you just pick and choose the modules you want to buy, and you just buy those. And then the next plan is to have, and I think this is where the bread and butter of like the whole program is going to come into play, because I learned a lot from the failures of having my course ripped off. So somebody went in, ripped off my course, and then put it all over the Black Hat websites. And then I'm like, well, that was a kind of a waste of time, because now I have like all of these dudes just hitting me up for questions, and they've never even bought my course. And then when you try to catch them in it, they're like, oh, my buddy bought it, and it's just like, I don't have time for that. I just don't have time for that. And so now the real kind of value add here is going to be the private community. I'm just going to build out a private community. And then once I've verified your details and verified that you're a legit person who really wants to help, and you've bought modules from the course, then you'll be added to the community. And I feel that's where the real value is going to happen. That's where we're going to get real detailed into like what's working, what's not working. So the course details themselves, that the modules that you buy will be enough to kind of get you moving, but there won't be enough there to really kind of help you grow and get you successful, and to teach the hidden details that will just kind of blow your mind and kind of get you to the point where you're really making money, like a few grand a day and so forth. So that's kind of the caveat. So it's just because my course got ripped off, and I'm like, that bummed me out. And but I should have known it was going to happen. It was kind of inevitable. It's what losers do, right? They rip off shit and then they go and try to sell it on their own, and then you have kind of more losers piling on, trying to like get free information out of you, and these guys have no money anyway. So it's just it's just a whole nother aspect, ugly side of marketing that I just don't want to deal with. And the way to fix that, I think, is just have a gated community. It's like, okay, if you really want to have a good time, you gotta put up the cheese and get inside the gated community. Anyway, hope you're doing well out there. Hit that like button, and go ahead and drop some comments in here. I'm going to start looking at those a little bit more. And I just wanted to say it's good to be back. I'm happy to be here. And right now I have a studio being built out downstairs. So I'm sitting at my living room table, and I'm just kind of working on content, and kind of just kind of mind mapping out the. All right, I'm in my Trello board here. I'm just kind of working on new stuff about just kind of blueprinting the blueprint, and just kind of coming up with what I want to talk about. There's a lot we get to do. I'm going to have lots of modules. I'm also going to get into business growth and financial stuff too, because, when you start making money, that money kind of can stock up, it can pile up and just sit in your bank account as cash. And in my opinion, that's kind of a reckless place to put your, to just kind of sit on your money. It's just kind of reckless, And so, like, as I've begun, to start to accrue a little bit of profit in my accounts, I've been looking at investment ideas and ways of budgeting. One thing I've learned about money is that it's sometimes harder to keep it than it is to make it. And it's really easy to psychologically start justifying spending your money, your profits, on business ideas, thinking that you're improving your business when in fact you're just wasting money. And a lot of that comes down to like just not having a clear understanding, a clear balance sheet of what's going on in your business. If you want to call it a business, or if you want to just call it things you own that make money for you, that's cool too. So I got all these little websites. These are things that I own. They're making money for me. And a lot of times I get kind of like this sporadic, like, let's go out and spend a bunch of money to kind of help increase the revenue. And then you kind of look back after a month or two of doing that, and you're like, wow, I just spent X number of dollars and I didn't increase my revenue any at all, So it's about understanding, like having a top level view of what's going on in your business, your revenue generating buckets, and then being able to kind of be very clear, extremely clear about like money in versus money out, and how to kind of manage that. So I want to take the hero's journey approach to all of this. This basically means follow me. I'll show you what I'm up to, and you can do the same, and then kind of go from there. Figure out how to make the money, figure out how to keep the money, figure out where to park the money, And I'm not talking about like ways of getting around the government and stuff like that. This isn't about like avoiding taxes and stuff. This is about like, okay, I have like $50,000 sitting in the bank. You know, it's the end of 2018. There's a lot of talk about recessions coming on, 2019, 2020. Um, you know, do you want to keep your money in cash sitting in a bank, you know, especially some US dollar fiat currency, or do you want to put it someplace more secure? That way, when a recession does happen, you'll have your purchasing power, you know, saved. That way, you can come in and buy everything at half the price. You know, things like that. So that's all going to be kind of part of this whole kind of you know, pay per call blueprint system that I'm putting together. It's just kind of more than just calls. Anyway, okay, now I'm done with my tangents, and I'm going to let you go. Anyway, it's good to be back, and I'll talk to you later, and hope you're doing well.